I'm Greg Albo from York University and with the Center for Social Justice, which is one of the groups hosting tonight's talk with the Rosa Luxemburg Stiftung from both Berlin and New York offices. Also with the Socialist Project and York University helping sponsor tonight's discussion. Beyond the Gridlock, public transit struggles from across Europe and North America. Clearly it's not an issue in Toronto during this election or ever that we want to debate transit. It's a big F-up in the city, as we know, and there's all kinds of struggles going on around public transit in the city. So we're lucky to have some of the most interesting campaigns to discuss tonight and activists from different public transit struggles in Europe and North America. This issue has been linked to the question of just mobility, which is a concept, an idea that is particularly associated with the comrades from Rosa Luxemburg Stiftung, who've done a lot of research on the extension of public transit across Europe, and that's one of the key ideas that they've been pushing. Relationship to mobility rights in the city, for rights of access for disabled people, a way to address inequalities for the low paid, address equality issues for women, and so on and so forth. We're developing a kind of a whole platform in and around transit struggles linked to various demands moving towards socialism. It's not just about that question that's important for public transit struggles in the work that's come from the Stiftung and a range of us here. We also link to the question of ecology. One of the main demands that we could put forward to address climate justice, climate change, is expanding access to public transit. Probably the number one issue we can do to switch modes of transport towards public transit and away from fossil fuels in the car sector. Certainly the most important on the demand side of that issue. The other thing I think that's been important about these public transit struggles has been as a challenge towards the commodification that has occurred under neoliberalism. Stopping privatization of public transit, which has been crucial in Europe, but also in one of the main struggles that's going to come forward, whoever gets elected in the city here will be about privatization issues. Also the way that it embodies one of the principles of socialism from each according to their ability to each according to their need is what public transit, free public transit can accomplish. To kind of help greet people here, I'm going to ask Earle from the Rosa Luxemburg Stiftung from New York to just say a few words.
Hey there, everybody. Oops. Hey there, everybody. Okay, that's better. I'm going to say just a very few words and then let us get on with our program with our excellent speakers. My name is Earle. I'm project manager at the New York office of the Rosa Luxemburg Stiftung, and I'm going to just do a 2-minute spiel on what the hell the Rosa Luxemburg Stiftung actually is, because it's a question that I get a lot. And I'd like to,
I'm going to sit down for this.
Yeah. So it's an internationally operating foundation that's affiliated with the Left Party in Germany, a democratic socialist party that operates internationally, has, I believe, 20 regional offices around the world, and works, broadly speaking, on issues of political education, civic education, producing research, and generally supporting the international left and the international socialist left on a pluralistic level. We do a lot of stuff like this, bring together different academics and activists and media people, movement people, to sort of get together and exchange ideas about critical issues like the one we're going to be talking about tonight. So I think I'm still under my 2 minutes. I'll keep it very short for now. We have a bunch of RLS people, both from New York and from Berlin in the crowd tonight. We've got the co-director of our office, Stephanie Empson, Judith Delheim, and Mika Brie, both from Berlin. And I would welcome you to approach any of us afterwards to ask us more questions about what we do. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Greg and our excellent panelists for tonight.
Thank you. Ethan is right. It's incredible what the Stiftung is doing, not just in North America, but around the world with their offices and kind of working with activists and around a range of issues. I'm going to pass over to Herman Rosenfeld, who's been active with the user groups and the riders groups in Toronto around transit struggles, to welcome as well.
Thank you. I'm not part of the excellent panel, just another warm-up act. I work at a number of different levels. First, I work in the Free and Accessible Transit campaign. I'm one of the people who helped to found it. And we have a crew of people, I say maybe about 10 or 11 of us who are working on this. And we put out materials, and we try and develop an analysis of, the first step was to try and develop an analysis of transit from a socialist perspective, and what does it mean? And how do you move towards taking public transit out of the commodified realm, the semi-commodified realm that is today, even though it's publicly owned. It's in Toronto, for example, over 70% of it is paid for by user fees, by fares, which is the highest percentage of anywhere in the global north. How do you put together demands around what free transit would be like, what kinds of social changes you need to be able to make it happen, what kind of political changes you need to be able to make it intelligible to people, and issues around planning and general transit issues from a perspective which sort of hasn't been around. Although if you look at the proceedings of the Toronto District Labour Council from, I think, from the early 1970s, they called for fare-free transit. But one of the things we did, I'll be explaining later on what our campaign was like, some of the things we did. It'll be Saturday afternoon, I guess. But we also work in a larger mass movement of transit users, which is relatively, it's been around for a few years, but it's been re-energized in the last couple of years, called the TTC Riders. And it's a mass movement of people who use transit, and the idea is to fight for accessible transit, affordable transit across the city. The third leg is an organization called the Fair Coalition. And what this is an organization of people, mostly women, from drop-in centers, various kind of health spaces and public health spaces across, and education spaces across the city. And their main demand has been around a low-income pass. And the city council in Toronto is theoretically taking it up. They say in the future we'll put this forward. And right now the fight is to try and consult and build a base to be able to develop a series of coherent demands around low-income passes, how they'd be paid for, and what they would mean. And in the next few weeks we're going to be doing some of that. But all these things are part of this growing movement in Toronto. They're very important. And hopefully in the next few days we'll be able to hear what other people are doing in other cities and around North America and Europe. And also we'll be able to share some of our experiences, and some of our people from the Free Transit Campaign, from TTC Riders, and from the Fair Coalition will be participating and speaking at various different parts of these events. And we also have materials from all three different movements around here. So welcome to Toronto, and welcome to this discussion. We look forward to hearing from you all about what you're doing so we can learn from it.